Hello everyone, welcome to another video, our third video into the introductory to Linux and Bash. Today we are going to talk about two main concepts: the navigation and how do we pass and interact with the shell and move through the files. And the second thing we're going to talk about is Linux hierarchical directory structure. So firstly we are going to start with the Linux structure. But this part is not like practical, it's more like something we are supposed to know, that the Linux has something called the repository or the directory. The repository or the directory, it's what's called a folder in the Windows. Linux is a different operating system. As we can see as we can remember in the Windows, the this the hard disk or the physical drive can be separated into different partitions, like you can say C, D, F, and like that. But here we have a different perspective to the operating system and to the folder structure, where it's here in a tree style, where it has something called a root directory. Linux has a root directory, which is the node that from it's the node or the parent, also called the parent, that uh, has leaves, stems, or what we can call children. So that's about what's about the Linux system, a Linux hierarchical system, and we're gonna observe that in the file structure that we are going to see now. Getting back to the navigation, we are going to talk about three main concepts. Firstly, the PWD, the CD, and the LS. All of these three are things we do interact with and use in the navigation, and they are one of the basic ways to interact and to get into the files. Okay, we are talking. Firstly, we start with the PWD. What is the PWD? PWD stands for Path Working Directory. Path Working Directory. PWD stands for Print Working Directory, where it prints the directory, or what's called in the Windows system the files, the file or the folder. Sorry, which is called the folder in the Windows. Here it's called a directory or a repository, which we are going to see and use many times when we are going to talk about Git and GitHub. So PWD, if we use that and click enter, we find that it shows us an output. This output is the path we are currently in. We are currently in a path called home, coming from the root, going to a file called toxic. That's my like nickname. That's where we are now currently in. Okay, so say we go to another file and write pwd, it will show us where we are. Okay. The other thing we are going to talk about is the cd, and we're gonna use how and we show how to integrate all of these commands. The other thing is cd, which stands for change directory. The directory, we must know all the directories in front of us. We must see all the directories in front of us. Okay. So before we know the cd, we are going to talk about the second thing, which is called the ls, list, which stands for list. Clicking on the list, we see all the files that are present in the home toxic. All of these files and folders are in there. So say we're gonna go to the file called test, or let us make a new directory. This is something like extra, like how we're gonna know about it later. Let's make a directory called Linux, call Linux nav. No, it's called nav already. Okay, we made the then we like that we made a directory called nav. Now if we clicked on ls and listed all the files, we will find that nav is there. Okay, so nav is there where it belongs, and it is in the folder or the repository or the directory of toxic, which is in home. So the question is, how do we go to nav? Well, we talked about something called cd, which stands for change directory. But can I just use it like that and click enter? It will do nothing. It will do absolutely nothing. Why? You didn't specify the attribute or the argument you want to, or the file name you want to seek or go to. So we want to go to the nav, as you just said. So we're gonna say cd nav. See what happened here in the prompt? There is something like a /nav that happened. This /nav shows us that we are here. This sign is called tilde, which shows we are in the home directory. We are the root of us is home. Okay, and then the March files, we passed the March files. Then we went to the user toxic. Then we are now in the folder or the directory nav. Okay, so what happens if we what do you think if we said like clicked or typed ls? What do you think will happen? What will happen is that there is nothing will happen. Why? There is no files or directories within the file. We just made it now. So now there is nothing to list in this file. What am I supposed to do? I want to go back to the file I was just in. But let us check first that we are in that file. How do we check in the current file? pwd. pwd is print working directory. As we can see, we are now in the home user file toxic and in the folder nav. Okay, so we wanna turn back. We are gonna use an attribute in the cd function or command, which is called, which we use to get back. How do we get back? By clicking double dot. cd double dot makes us go back one file or folder. And now if we list it back again, or by pwd to see which file we are in, we find that we are in home toxic, which we are in from somewhere else. And if we said ls, we'll find that we are back to that folder. Okay, a big point we want to talk about in the ls, it may not be that useful now, but it may help in cybersecurity when we talk about it in the future, that there is some things called hidden files. We're gonna use it also in the Git. Hidden files, you cannot see the hidden files. Obviously, you cannot see the hidden files unless you have you clicked or you typed a certain command or a certain attribute given to the list property or the command, which is list slash a or slash l. Slash a or slash l, mostly stands for a long list. Now long list shows us the attributes of things, but before we should do that, we're gonna show list a, which shows us the hidden files. What is the hidden files? How we know that the file is a hidden file? We know by that dot. Any file that starts with a dot in the Linux systems is a hidden file. Okay, so any file that starts with a dot is a hidden file in the Linux systems. How did we cover or discover them? By ls, which we talked about, which is list slash dash a, which shows us the hidden files and the files. Okay, so another problem is not a problem, but another attribute we're going to talk about in the list, which is ls slash l, which is a long list. Look what is going to happen. It lists us all the visible non-hidden files, but in a format that we were supposed to, that gives us the properties of the file. We are files within the working directory. Like say there is a file which we just made called nav. Look when we made it, April 10, which is today, and that's the time. This is the size of the what's called the directory. This is the user. This is the group. We are gonna talk about that was for, but and that's the access. The access group. All directories start with a D. Directories starts with a D. We made just a directory called a nav, right? So it starts with a D. But normal files starts with no D. Just starts with a dash. Okay. Okay. So another point. What's this code? We're gonna talk about it in later videos, but this is like the access of the user and of the root and the users and the group. Like you can use it to read, you can write, and X for execute. We're gonna talk about it later. So yeah, another point in ls is that you can, and not in ls but in the attributes, is that you can merge its attributes by saying ls. Like say we said ls like that, and we can set ls slash a, yeah, like we knew that this is ls slash l is a long list, and the slash a shows us the hidden files. But say we don't want to slash l slash a slash s slash v slash whatever. We're gonna get lost. We can just say slash la or al. It's not gonna get any different. But this one, what do you think it's gonna do? It's gonna use both attributes, which it's gonna do that. It's gonna list all the files in that format and list the hidden files. Let's try it. It lists for us all the files, hidden and visible, and in that format. Okay, so that was about ls slash la slash l and about slash a. You can use it like that also, or you can use it slash ls la or al. It's not gonna get any different. So yeah, so if another thing we want to talk about in the changing directory. Change directory can be used to change directory either for relative or absolute path. Say when we change directories, we're gonna change, say, let us say we made, like, let's go to nav again and let's make another directory within it called nav2. Okay, and let's go back where we are currently now in, and in toxic PWD. We're in the toxic files for toxic directory. Okay, so what's the problem here? Say we wanna go to nav2, like there is a nav2 within our file. Okay, so I don't wanna just, we can say cd nav, then go right as hit enter, then go cd nav2 and like that. We're not gonna do that. It's gonna make us lost. There's another way. It's simpler because we don't need to write the cd command another time. This will be useful in like big servers and big memory storages and files, so it can seek the path at once. We're gonna use something called the absolute pathing. We're gonna say nav cd nav slash nav2, and that way we just went to nav2, our file again, which is nav2. If we click pwd to print working directory, we're gonna find that we are in nav2, which was in nav, which was in toxic. Another method, another method to return back using the cd, to return back to the file which I was wherein. Say we knew that cd and clicking double dot will get us back one file back. Okay, so say if we just said cd dot dot, we are now in nav2, we'll go to nav1. We can write again, say cd nav dot cd dot dot, we'll go to toxic. But again, we don't want to write too much CDs and commands and get lost with it. So we got another method, which is dash, cd dash. Cd dash gets us to the file we were, or the directory we were just in. Clicking cd dash and entering will get us back to the file we were in, which is home toxic. So that was it for the Linux hierarchical directory system, or form and structure, which was a tree structure, and for the navigation, and the three concepts of PWD, CD, and LS. Print working directory, to change directory, and to list the directories and files within your directory or folder. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope you understood something that could be useful for you, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.